So how do you do a one-person show and the Meisner technique? How does that work when you're supposedly working opposite others and it's just you up there? Ready? Thank God for the Meisner technique. In doing one-person shows, I've been blessed. I have 5 shows that I've been touring for almost 30 plus years, different ones at different times, but pretty much have made my living as an actor touring these shows, standing on stage by myself. And so when I say thank God for the Meisner technique, the first show that I started to tour was Vincent. It's authored by Leonard Nimoy, a one-man show on Vincent van Gogh. And a large house for us was usually around 1,200 to 1,500, small house, 600, 800. So you get the idea. Let's call it 1,000 people in that house, right? And typically, because of the lighting, the way it is, I can only see the first 4 to 6 rows. That's it. Then it's just it's a whiteout. So what I would do is I would actually have them fill in the house lights a little bit more so that I could at least see about 20 rows deep. And why was this important? Because, I'm looking right at the audience, right? I'm walking on stage as Vincent's brother Teo. It's a week after his death. And if I'm doing my job well, I'm not doing a one-man show in Chicago or wherever. You, the audience, are the people that have come to the funeral of my brother. And I'm basically giving this eulogy talk. It's a little oversimplified, but bottom line, that's it. And I'm literally, from the time I get on stage, I am trying to connect. And that, believe me, because of the way I'm trained, I can read people. I can read behavior. I mean, this is obvious to read. You got somebody sitting there just like starry-eyed, just staring at you. You can tell they're engaged, right? And then there's some people where, they're all, they're like this. Or if it's a Friday night show, a long work week, and you can tell they're just ready to doze off. But I'm seeing that too. And there's some people that are just downright just have dark energy in terms of just aren't giving you anything. And you're basically, I'm skipping over them to connect to the people that you can tell want to dance with you. Hell, there have been times when I finish the show, come on stage for my, curtain, whatever, and I literally, as I'm taking my bow, I'll single out specific people that I was working off all night long to thank them because they know and they smile right back. They were more than just, an audience members. They were part of the show and they could feel it because of me working off them. So it's something that, I realize many of you may never want to do a one-person show, but it goes to anything that you're ever going to do. Ever having to get up and give a speech. Thank God for the Meisner technique for that. The ability to connect, to put your focus on something else besides yourself, to be of service to the material, which leads to freedom. Sandy would constantly say to us, it's not about you. It's not about you. And there it is. When you really understand that as actors, we are of service to the script, or service to the director, we're service to our character, and above all, the audience, the people that have taken the time, energy, and financial wherewithal to attend. No one there, it's just a rehearsal. That audience is key. So obviously with any play, live theater, the audience is an integral part. But doing one-person shows where you're connecting with them, using them, really bringing them into the show is at the heart of the technique. And honestly, in my opinion, one of the keys to the wonderful success that I've been blessed with over the years with all these shows, because the feedback is always extremely positive. Period. That's how you tour for 20 plus years with one show, is the word's out that it's a hell of a product. And it's not all me, obviously. It's in fact, all my only part in it is doing Sandy's genius well. That's my part. But the script's beautiful. The story's incredible. And it's just a visual, stunning experience. Okay, so the real point, though, is like, well, here, this is a better way of saying it. One time, early on when I first began doing the show, I talk to our father, Vincent and Teo's father, Gauguin, this art critic, my wife, Teo's wife, family members, other artists. They're mentioned, and one of the first shows I ever did, when I came to the part about talking about my father, literally while I'm on stage, minutes before, I'm having to think to myself, it's not ideal, believe me, but welcome to standing on stage by yourself, right? It's a lot. It's a lot to be present. And yet I still had to be thinking, I've got to find somebody to be old enough to be my father to address. And so I'd found that guy early on. It's just, I guess, part of the seasoning. You get good at this part of it because it wasn't a distraction, but I found the guy quickly, okay? And when it came to the part of the father, I, as Teo, I basically call him out because he was so cruel to Vincent. He was so judgmental. And I basically say to him that, that Vincent was a beautiful soul who was full of love. And even though he took his life, he was a passionate, incredible man. And the way you treated him didn't help. You get the idea. Well, at intermission, when I came back for Act 2, that guy wasn't sitting in his chair. Now, on the one hand, you go, wow, well, you must have really done your job, which I had a reaction at first to that. And then it's like, no, that's not the right reaction. The truth is, that guy he didn't show up to be a part of the play to that degree. He didn't show up so that I could berate him. He didn't even know he's like, what the hell? Why is this guy yelling at me? As I'm using him as my father. And what I realized that night was when I single specific people out to talk about or talk to, I can't use actual audience members. That's not fair. So from that point on, I would always go over whomever's head. And if there's people sitting behind them, I would go all the way over everyone's head to the back wall. So anytime I talked to anybody, I was always skimming the audience's heads and going to the back of the house. This ensured I wouldn't intimidate somebody or make somebody uncomfortable. Number two, that I'd always be heard because I'm always hitting that back wall. This was a really, and then the part, just not confuse things, the part where I said a minute ago that I'm using people, that's when I'm talking more generically to the room. Like I look around, I go, thank you for coming. I greatly appreciate it. My brother was truly was a lover. He was a lover. And you get people, so there's so many times where I'm talking more to the congregation, if you will, the whole room of people that showed. And that's when I'm working off of individuals. But when it gets to the specifics of family members or friends or enemies, I learned a harsh lesson, a good lesson that night. And from that point on, for the rest of all the years of touring, that's how I always did it. So that was of value for sure. And then finally, I think the thing that really, Sanford Meisner believed that the theater was sacred, that he used to say there's just nothing like it. As incredible as film is, and it is, you can't get the immediacy and the feedback, and you're breathing the same air as they are and vice versa. It's a very pure exchange. And to be able to be so immersed in the technique, to be so sensitive to behavior, to be so open to what's being done to you, even though they're not speaking. I'm telling you that even if one of the great gifts of Sandy's genius in doing these shows was I could just take in the audience. I could feel their appreciation, their interest. They're going on for the ride. You don't need people sitting there shaking their heads up and down going, wow, this is incredible. You can just feel so much. So anyway, again, I realize a lot of you will not be doing one-man shows, one-woman shows, one-person shows in your lifetime, in your career. But I just wanted to share that in case it ever comes up. And I think it's helpful for other areas too. Like I said, more public speaking, which we all have to do. So hopefully that helps you, and more to come. And love the comments, love the questions. Anything you want me to talk about, I'm happy to do. So thank you in advance, okay? My best.